All right. I think that's recording. So, yeah, episode number, I've lost count.
7, I believe.
Um, is it seven?
I think so.
I honestly don't know. We've got a live one coming this Friday, but it's going to be last Friday when you watch this. So it's all over the place at the moment. Um, but yeah, first female guest on the podcast, um, which is a pleasure to have. Um, so yeah, so I think just start by saying who is Super VT and how did you get into sim racing?
Okay. That's a very, very long story. So I started back on PlayStation 1, and my first game was Need for Speed number 3. And I quickly found Gran Turismo 2, and it pretty much goes on from there. So, yeah, it's been a long journey. It's only been the past couple of years where I actually took it a little bit more seriously and got myself a wheel towards the end of the COVID lockdowns here in Victoria. So, yeah, after all that, I just was tired of racing the computer, was tired of the online side at the time, and I started looking for the league racing stuff. And that's where I came across console sim races and also Motor Motion. So from that point onwards, my driving got better and better and better. Yeah, a lot of people ask me why Super VT 2000. Well, it's the actual car I drive in real life. So I actually drive a Holden Commodore 2000. So I thought I'd name myself after the legendary car. So
Right,
that's
we're
me
going to
pretty
do
much.
something here. I want to see what this car looks like, and I think people want to see as well. So
Well,
I've prepared.
okay. I'm quite lucky. She is a ex interceptor, so a little bit of Australian history. It was an ex police car for those outside. Yeah, not many like it around. So yeah, no, I love that thing.
So what is is it? Is it a Holden? Is it?
That's right. Yes.
Oh, it's
So it's a
Holden VT
Holden
or
Commodore
Commodore.
VT. Yes. Yes.
Right. As you might notice that the podcast looks slightly different this time round. Um, that's because I'm using this new software. So if I just, it's going to take me a bit of a fiddling around, but if I share a window, we should now be able to see what is it? One of these?
Yeah, it's that silver one there. That's the Series 2. So yeah, I've got
Yep.
something like that. Mine is a V6 model, but that makes it a little bit more unique because most police cars came out in the V8. With today's petrol
Yep.
prices, I'm glad she's a V6, to be honest with you. um,
So
but yeah,
so I'm just trying to think. So this is a Holden Commodore,
hmm
um, and I'm just going to look on here. So we don't have Holden in the UK.
no,
We
you
have
don't.
a Vauxhall. And I think the nearest Vauxhall that we have is a VXR, and it's not this one.
No, definitely not.
Anyone watch? Actually, is it this? This is the closest we have. If I can make this any bigger, there we go.
Yeah, that's a Holden.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah,
so it's the closest we're going to get in the UK to a proper
that's it.
Holden.
And
But
for
yeah,
in the US, it's a Pontiac GTO. So our Holden Monaro
right.
is a Pontiac GTO, a 2004, if memory serves me correct. So Holden is out and about. Just well, they collapsed a couple of years ago, which is a shame. So Ford
Yeah.
hasn't got anyone to race against in the V8 supercars anymore. But um, yeah, it's out and about and hidden in a lot of things. So if you look at the Holden Astra, the Vauxhall Astra, the Opel Astra, they're all the same.
All the
So
same car.
yeah, they're all the same car. So just different badges. But
And it's quite funny. So they're General Motors, I'm assuming,
that's right.
which I have a love-hate relationship with because my first ever car was a Vauxhall Astra,
Oh, you poor
the
soul.
proper old school one. Um, but my best car that I've ever owned is a Saab 93,
Oh,
which is pretty probably a Commodore in a different shell because it's the same as the Vectra. And I had two of those. Um, One got written off.
Mm.
And then what I decided to do is because I like that car so much, I decided to buy the anniversary edition as well to replace it. But now I drive a French car, so it keeps breaking down.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, but so you go into Gran Turismo 2. So you've been playing all the Gran Turismos ever since, I'm assuming.
Hmm.
And at what point, what got you into the sim racing? So you're playing against the AI, which we can all probably relate to at some point, which I know I did. Um, I know for me it was I went to a shopping center and there was a Mercedes showroom. Weirdly enough, on the second floor of a shopping center or the mall, what you'd call in the States. Um, and inside they had a Formula One car with a TV connected to it and a racing wheel. So I got to sit into, I think it's a 2011 Mercedes F1 car, play at F1 2015. And I got home and I'm like, I want a PS4 and I want to get a steering wheel because I want to do this. Um, so what was the moment for you? So was there anything particular that got you triggered into? Um,
Um, yeah, there was. I had a friend of mine who had purchased a G27 and he upgraded to a PlayStation 4 and he wasn't able to, they weren't compatible. So he gave it to me and I was still back on PlayStation 3. I bought a PlayStation 4 quite late in life. So I dabbled in it, but I just never found the right setup. And as time went on, I went, oh, okay, whatever. You know, it's not for me. It can become quite expensive, so yeah. I just couldn't find the right rig or the setup at the time. And then I was watching all the big YouTubers, and I'm like, man, that looks like fun. That really looks like fun. And during lockdowns, I had nothing to lose, so I just I just took the plunge basically. But it's something that you have to make time for and have the room as well. It's not
Definitely.
just a little hobby like on a controller. Not that I'm doubting controller players. I'm about equal pace, controller and wheel, because I still haven't let that go yet. But um, yeah, you just need a lot more dedication and space to it. And I was lucky enough to be given a little slice of the house. So yeah, it's just one of those things that curiosity got to me, and I found a good deal, and yeah, it just happened to be like that.
And it just gets more expensive from there on, doesn't it?
Oh
Uh,
yeah, it does.
yeah, I know. I started with a G29. Well, I started with a controller like everyone does, and then I got a G29 because I couldn't decide did I want a Thrustmaster or the base the T150, I believe,
Hmm.
or the G29. And I thought the G29 looks better, and I regret getting that instead. Um, but then, was it last year, just over a year ago? Um, I was at work and I got a message saying the dog's eating through the cable of the G29.
Ooh.
I was like, oh God. Um, so I managed to repair it because turns out the cable that goes into G29, if anyone ever has that problem, is exactly the same as what goes into a computer mouse. So you
Oh.
can transplant a computer mouse cable into a G29 and it works. I quickly sold it and got a Fanatec. That was my excuse. Um, I've got the Fanatec, the GT, and I've got the McLaren rim because I'm a
Mm.
McLaren fan. Um, so now I'm trying to find an excuse to get a racing rig rather than an office chair. But
Ah.
that'll probably be a good while off. Um, but yeah, so you started sim racing and now you do league races, don't you?
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and you're doing quite well from what I can see.
Oh, don't remind me. Last night I'll set the scene. It's round 9. I'm there in the underdog in the Vantage. It's the weakest one on the grid power wise, and it's raining in at Autopolis, and it was very heavy rain, and there I was battling for first place, and I got disconnected.
I can relate to that because
Uh,
I don't know if you've seen that I've done the creator series for Kirov. Um, and we done 2 rounds. So round one was Barcelona in the GT3s. I qualified P2, which I wasn't expecting. Ended the race in P3 after a really bad start. And then we went into race two, which was at Watkins Glen in the short course in the Mazda touring cars. Um, Bad qualifying. I got held up, so wasn't very happy. I've made it quite clear. Um, Made up a couple of positions in the first couple of laps. Got spun out at the bus stop. Recovered to back into seventh place, and I'm thinking halfway through I can get a podium at least. Going down the straight and black screen, um, and the wheel just starts spinning like crazy, and I'm like, oh
oh
god.
no.
Um, so yeah, so I managed to go back into the lobby, but then I can only spectate. So I can relate to that. It's probably one of the worst things that can happen is getting disconnected when you're probably doing all right.
Yes. The series has been great so far. All the guys at Motor Motion have, you know, welcomed me with open arms, and it's always good racing. And that's the only type of racing I do nowadays. I don't even bother with sport mode anymore. I'll jump on and do the time trials, but I, I just don't have the time and the patience to get pushed off track. It's a shame because I think if I know you're a little bit familiar with ACC, I really wish that system of the safety rating, track knowledge, consistency. I wish all those numbers were able to be transferred into Gran Turismo, just so it can split and make the lobbies a lot more even.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm afraid it's
I
it's a
have a
shame.
love-hate relationship with ACC at the moment, so I really love the driving style. So it's helped me learn how to drive cars differently. So like you can take let's use the McLaren 650 because that's one car that I've raced in both Gran Turismo and in ACC. And if you go towards, let's use Watkins Glen. You go into turn one, you can in Gran Turismo downshift to whatever gear you like. You just click. If you want to go into second, you go second straight away. And then I was in ACC doing the same circuit and thinking, why is it not shifting? So I'm going down to third, and then I can't get into second gear. And I'm
Hmm.
thinking, what am I doing? And then I realise it's got what I think it's called engine save. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where it doesn't let you go into second gear until you've slowed down enough to be able to get into second gear. So from a Gran Turismo point of view, it's helped me go quicker because I have a habit of downshifting far too early,
Hmm.
which probably isn't the best thing when you're trying to keep control. So I've learned to brake, then shift, if that makes sense. So that's helped me gain a bit of time. But ACC, I am probably going to stream it tomorrow because the new update, I believe, came out today. I could be wrong,
Yes, it did.
which is update 1.9.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping that that might be a game changer for the console, um, which hopefully will mean that more people play online, which is, I think, the biggest thing holding back ACC on the PlayStation is the lack of online lobbies.
Well, that being said, with console sim races, one of the guys has a private lobby, private server, sorry, I should say, and we've had no problems, operating that. The link seems to be great. One thing that has come to the console version is driver swaps, which is pretty cool. But again, you need that private server. But
Right.
yeah, I hope ACC does come to life a little bit more, especially the online side, because it's just a fantastic game. You don't need to grind, you don't need to buy cars, you don't
No,
need to sit
that's
there and.
that's a problem. That's a problem for me though. From a content, you've noticed my channel. That's a big red flag for me because how am I going to make that my content without buying cars and grinding? But yeah, I
Mm.
see what you mean. So with the driver swaps, I didn't know about that. So are you saying that if we were to have like a 6 hour race, you could actually have two people in two different locations, like you can on the PC, and say
Yep.
we're going to go into the pits. I'm going to come out, and you're going to take over.
Yep. I'm not participating in the team at the moment, but Console Sim Races is in a league. Um, I think it's FRL. I'm not too or ARL. I'm not too sure. But yeah, they're a team of three guys, and yeah, they've been doing the driver swap. So the last race was a 6 hour, and yeah, they split it up between each other. So yeah, it's coming along on console. The only thing is that you have to pay for that service to rent a slice of the service. So and know a little bit of coding as well. In all honesty,
Yeah,
and how to get IP addresses and all that type of stuff. But the lads have been doing really great in that. So yeah, it is coming over slowly. Slowly, the console side is becoming a little bit more PC orientated with all those extra in the background features. But yeah, it is something that we are going to be looking at experimenting in console sim races. So I would love to see how this would work from behind the scenes because it's something totally different. But yeah, ACC is coming along. So
yeah. I really hope that it does because I used to play Project Cast 2 back in the day, and I thought that was a really great game. Um, Especially with the tracks were like laser scanned, it was completely different until Poxy EA took over um, and destroyed it completely. Which seems to be what they're doing as well with the Formula One series, which I'm not very happy about. Because that was the main. So before I started playing Gran Turismo, I used to play the Formula One series. That was it. I used to play F1 2010, 11, all the way through. I even played whatever they were called before being called F1. Um, and it got to about, well, 22 was, I think, the game changer for me, where I spent a load of money buying the disc, and it's just been sitting there gathering dust for about a year. I got 23 when it came out, and I think I played it about twice. Um, I just can't get away from Gran Turismo. There's just something about the way it operates, and as much as we complain about the online lobbies, they are pretty good compared to some other games out there. So I've got to give them their credit. But league racing is a completely different thing. Like just having a
mhm.
separate lobby and knowing that you can trust people um, rather than a random idiot that's out there somewhere.
Well, what I like about it the most is each week or every 2 weeks you're up against the same guys, so you learn their strengths and their weaknesses. Um, like I'm more of a defensive style driver. I'll attack where I need to, but I just haven't gotten there yet. It's something I'm working on. But like the guy behind me knows that I don't feel pressure. You can sit behind me, lap up the lap, but that's my strength. So it's a new level of difficulty when you start to know the people that you're racing with. Now I've been racing with most of these guys for a couple of seasons now, so it's just getting better and better as time goes on because you're up against the same foes all the time, and yeah, it's just adds a new level to everything. But you're right with ACC, the way that the car operates is a totally different beast from Gran Turismo, and I can understand why people either choose between the two. I like them both; they both have their thing. The force feedback in ACC over Gran Turismo is worlds apart in my point
Oh,
of
it's
view.
ridiculous.
Um, all I'm running is a T300, nothing special, and there's just a big difference. I feel like it feels like a new machine. But then the graphics win in Gran Turismo, so there's that.
You can't have both. You can't, can
No,
you?
you can't have both. But you mentioned Project Cars too. There's still a few Australian Facebook leagues out there that publish wanting Project Car 2 players all the time. So
Yeah.
there is a love out there for every game. Um, but uh, yeah, it's just they're different things. They're trying to get the way the car acts is completely different between the two. I wish they could just sort of mash it together. Grand ACC or something. Just make the two games together and and we'll
It
be
would be
fine.
nice. I mean, maybe get Forza Motorsport included in that. That would be the ideal dream, wouldn't it? But I've heard that ACC two, not ACC, Assetto Corsa 2 is in the works. So
Yes.
that could be the one that destroys everyone else. Because if they can take everything they put into ACC, the mods that were available for AC, and then put that into one game with that will go head to head with Gran Turismo or Forza, um, would be absolutely bonkers.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh
like if
yeah.
you could imagine running your own mod on a modern day game rather than something from 2014, would I don't want to think the possibilities of that would be insane.
It
But
would
then you've
be.
got Rensport coming out as well, which is meant to be a game changer. But I think that's only PC, isn't it?
That's right. AC is not confirmed for PlayStation. Well, AC2, I should say, isn't confirmed yet, but most likely, since they've already got the franchise on console, they'd go over. But yeah, I know it looks like I'm gonna have to get a gaming PC and have to
Yeah,
try out all these things.
you and me both. I mean, my PC can't even do streaming now. It's only about a year old,
Oh,
but I
okay.
struggle to get any decent quality streams out of it. Um, so I've relied on my trusty PlayStation camera the last couple of streams, um, which is annoying because I don't like seeing myself on the screen. Which I know it's
Yeah.
weird. I do a podcast and I'm constantly looking at myself on the screen. But just something about when I'm driving. Sorry if you can hear the dog barking. He's just going bonkers because he's been put to bed. Um, but when I'm driving, I want to just focus on the game. And if I've got the PlayStation camera on, I'm kind of trying to concentrate on the game. And then the camera covers part of the tire bar on Gran Turismo, so I can't see what my left tires are doing with the tire wear.
Oh,
And if it
I
rains,
chuck mine, chuck it up in the corner like I do. It covers the map.
yeah, yeah, but I hate it. I hate it up there. I like it in the bottom left.
I need the tire
So
wet.
it's
I need to.
OCD. It's I, I I say that, but then I could just I don't know if you've heard of this sim dashboard,
hmm
which I could literally just put that um in front of me and see everything anyway. So it's just me being lazy. Um, but yeah, that's something a really good tool, that sim dashboard. For anyone who doesn't know, just being able to have your tire temps visible to you, which you can't get in game,
hmm
is absolutely bonkers. I mean, that's one thing from ACC that I really like is trying to manage your tires, um, and working out. So at Watkins Glen, you mainly got high tire wear on the front left. So if you could see what the temps are doing, you can kind of adapt your style a little bit to try and bring those temps down, which then help with tire wear. And they don't give you that tool in Gran Turismo unless you get a separate app on a different device, which is annoying, but they'll probably do it at some point. It's probably one of their big updates, isn't it?
I don't know. Gran Turismo's always had, well, from far back as I can remember, they've always had either a little blue box around the tires or a red box. There was no real, temperature, no real PSI or anything being displayed. It's been like that for a very, very long time. So I don't, personally, I don't see it coming to the series. They never had it before. I don't see, unless there's a real demand for it, which I believe it should be in the game. It should. Tire, if you got tire wear, you should have tire temps. They go hand in
Yeah,
hand. But I
especially when
yeah,
you've got track temps as well, because the track temps are there.
yeah,
So I think they go hand in hand, don't they? Really.
that's right.
Um, but then also thinking of the player base, the, the online side of things is only a very small percentage with Gran Turismo. So I don't know. I think I saw someone say the other day that the percentage is probably about 5% of people play sport mode
Mm,
compared to everyone else that plays offline does the the grinding, car collecting, the menu books, or the licenses. So, will they actually focus on the small percentage, or will they keep going for the overall player base, which is mainly offline, from what I'm led to believe?
Well, that's because all the cars cost 20 million. If they
That's why
reduce the
some of us make
prices,
videos.
yeah, if they reduce the prices, maybe we'd be on sport mode a little bit more often. But in all honesty, they do make a big fanfare with their GT championship, where they get the top guys to do that. So if they said something, maybe, but like Gran Turismo, it's a great game, but I don't see it as the real driving simulator anymore. There's too much
It's not.
competition. No, it's aimed for the everyday guy that wants to come home after work, just do a couple of races, and this is why the credits thing as well is a big one. I've never had to grind this hard for a car. 20 million. It's even in sport mode they gave us the handicap, and they took all that away in GT7. So, um, but yeah, no, I don't see that type of stuff coming in. Gran Turismo has its fan base, and that's what it will do. It will keep it like that. You want something a bit more serious? There are other games out there.
I
Don't get
think
me.
that's it.
Yeah.
You're right on what you say there. Like, you, you got to see Gran Turismo for what it is. I know we all complain about it. It's an easy thing to do as a human being, isn't it? Is complain. If something's not to your liking, you complain about it. You go to a restaurant, you complain about it. Um, you still go back. I know, for example, I go to McDonald's. I won't complain every time. You know, I want salt on my chips. It's not a lot to ask for, but I still go back, knowing
Yeah.
that they're not going to put salt on my chips. Um, but for all the negatives that Gran Turismo does have, it's got a lot of positives. And if anyone wants any credits, there's plenty of videos on my channel um, on where you can get the fastest credits. But also having a bit of fun with it as well, because that's one thing I try and do is I'm trying to get through use as much cars as I can, because with sport mode, I know this week if you want to be competitive, you've got to use the Super Group 3. You know, either that or the BMW potentially. But
Hmm.
those are the two cars that you really can only use. If it's a Group 4 race, it's probably the Sylvia. Um, and with, I think, 400 odd cars in the game, you know, I want to be able to drive different cars. Like, I want to drive the NASCAR that they took to Le Mans, or Le Mans, as I was got corrected the other day in one of my comments. Um, I want to experience what the Camaro is like. I want to experience what the VGT cars are like. I want to experience, like, I've just bought is it 1920s Roadster or something like that. Um, I just went in, I saw it, I'm buying this car
Hmm.
because I'm gonna want to try and do something with it. The Wiley's Jeep with an engine swap is something that should never happen, um, but it's hilarious. So I've got about four of the Wiley's Jeeps just because I just wanted to buy a load of them. Um, but you can't do that in any other game, can you? You can't go into ACC and say, I want to drive Mr. Bean's Mini.
No,
And then
that's right.
half an hour later say, I want to drive a Pagani. You just can't do that in any other game that I know of. So for all its bad sides, Gran Turismo is really good.
It's true. There are a wide range of cars. However, that being said, where are the races for them? You have to sit there and make a custom race with a custom grid. Like, for example, there was that 60s Honda F1 type car. I can't remember the name, the RA something, whatever it
Yeah.
was. I would have loved that package to have two other models from the same era, so you could go racing with it. It's all good to have all these different cars, but if there's nowhere to race them, it, it,
This
it
is a thing
that,
where
yeah.
this is where I think we could, as a community, we can do different things. So one thing I'm going to try and do a bit more often, because I did a live stream on Sunday, which my live streams always go Pete Tong. They never work how they should. I pressed the wrong button, the stream ended, I had to restart it again. But I decided to do an open lobby. So I just open up a lobby, put new daily race info in, and whoever turns up, and you can and just drive. So as a community, what we could do potentially is open up a lobby and say this is the only car or a select group of cars that you can drive. So you can, let's say you want to use that Formula One from the 1960s, you can only pick this car. Now, like you said, there should be two or three others, which would be nice. But if everyone could just pick that car and say, right, we're just going to drive this around Monza because that's still quite an old school circuit.
Hmm.
And you could have a 20, 30-minute race around Monza in a 1960s car. So that's still something we can do as a community is create our own lobbies. Um, but in terms of them being able to buy the car, like you said, there is no way you can do a custom race, and get that many credits. I've tried it myself. I've tried to do Sardinia as a custom race. Tried to do it 12 laps like you can in the World Tour in 800s.
Hmm.
Try and put the difficulty to the max, and the most you can probably get is about 12,000 credits for coming first. That doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got a McLaren that costs or 19 million, I believe it is.
Still on my
I mean, you
list to
do the
buy.
math.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen, not for me anyway.
No.
But at least I really like Sardinia, so that's always a good one for me. You can get what they say 1.6 million per hour when people do this funny maths. Um, so it's probably about 19 hours. So I'll be able to buy the McLaren.
I don't even bother anymore. I've got
No,
enough money sitting there for when I need to buy something, and I just do the online time trials. I get more enjoyment out of doing that than having to sit and grind away at a race. I prefer to at least spend my time behind the wheel getting better. Um, just continuously doing something on repeat, it gets very old very quick. So I much prefer to sit there and do the online time trials, which pay out pretty well. They're two
yeah,
mil if you get gold. So yeah, that's where I spend most of my grinding time. To be honest with you, makes things a bit more interesting. But
those
yeah,
those are not bad because I don't I've not done them recently because I know did you do a video on the was it the esports with the Group One cars at was it at Dragon not Dragon Trail at
Deep
I can't remember which
Forest.
circuit it is. Deep Forest, that's the one.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah,
I
I
just
did.
can't do that circuit to save my life. Like that circuit just drives me round. Like I hear people going on saying, "Deep Forest, this is the best track ever." I'm like, it's not. I hate it.
Mm.
Um, I can't get that tight, twisty bit around turns 3 and 4. Is it?
Oh,
Just
in the
can't do it.
middle. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
can't do it. Um, and I wanted to check because I know there's a lot of videos out there saying you can get these 2 million credits in like 100 seconds or in 1 minute or in 2 minutes. And I'm like, is it really? Because, you know, I went into Watkins Glen because I knew the track. I went in the Group 4 car, I knew the track. It still took me 20 minutes to get a gold lap time. Um,
Yes.
and that's still a grind. But it, as I was doing it, I didn't make a video out of it because I was like, how do I go from not knowing the circuit to getting to within 2% of the goal time, which is the best drivers in the world? So I had to try and like figure out like, okay, this lap that I'm doing, this is just a sighter. Next lap round, where am I gaining time? Try and remember it and say, right, the next lap I need to improve here, I need to improve there, and gradually build up that gap over a 20-minute span of time, and just try and pick out where you can get quicker. But do you have any tips? What's the one thing that helps you get quicker? Like, so let's say you was thrown into
Hmm.
Let's say they added Silverstone into the game next week,
Hmm.
right? It's probably a track a lot of people probably know, but it's in a Group 3 car. What are you gonna? How are you gonna learn the track? What's your tricks on getting fast at a track that you have no idea what you're doing?
Just drive. There's no other way around it. You can sit there and analyze and watch people's videos all you like, but if you're not putting in the time, you're not going to get it. You know, it's all about the time. We all know the basics of in and out, fast in, slow out, where to hit the apex. We all know that. That translates across to every track. But if you don't put in the time, you're just not going to get there. There were time trials and stuff where I sat there for days grinding to get into the top 3%, whatever it is. But not everyone is, Keys. Not everyone is Super GT or Jimmy Broadbent,
Yeah,
and it's just time and to sit there. It's not the equipment either, because I've seen people
yeah,
do amazing things on G27s. It's not the equipment either. It's just time and patience and practice, and time and patience and practice and repeat.
yeah.
That's all it is. You know, that Olympic challenge that you referred to, I actually did that on controller
Oh,
because
was
I
it?
saw so many people. Now, I missed out just on gold, but I saw so many people get discouraged. Oh man, this is for wheel players. No, 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 it wasn't. It's just you got to sit there and grind it out. That video was all about encouragement. It's like, yeah, guys, it's okay to get silver. It is okay to get silver, and it's okay to
It
get
is.
bronze. Yeah, so much people get discouraged, and I don't like seeing that. We all start
I think
from somewhere,
I think
you
that's what
know.
I'm trying to focus more on. I've got two really lovely messages on my videos today. Two different videos, two different people, and I've had idiots, so I'm not going to go into them because they're not worth my time. But the messages I got was, I mean, I got to read it because this guy was this is why I do like the YouTube videos that I do. If my phone wants to play ball, so there's actually two comments. So one is from Blackbeard, and said, "Dude, you've honestly helped me so much to get in the cars I want with these tutorials to get credits and better understanding of the game as a newcomer to sim racing. Thanks a lot. Wish you success, etc., etc., etc." So seeing that, it just I'm not the world's best driver. I'm not even gonna try and sit here and say I'm an A-rated driver or A plus. I'm a B-rated driver at best. That sometimes get us into an A rating. That's my level, and I'm happy with it. And then within a couple of hours, someone said, "This is God Flanker. Thank you so much for the guide and vid. I'm pretty new to GT7, and I only played GT3 when I was a child, but love racing games. Was looking for a good guide and nearly gave up because I'm super hardcore sim racer or anything. Like to collect cars, but this can help when you need to save money, etc., etc. Um, but very fun, So getting those sort of comments, I'm like, there was someone that said a while ago, I can't remember who it was, but said people who are not the best drivers in the world shouldn't be making track guides. And I was thinking, you know, I see what they're trying to say because you know I watched Digit and Mr. MCA, and they're really good. Their lap guides are brilliant. I can't do those times. There's no chance of me in the next year getting anywhere near to their level. So what does someone who's not as good as me gonna do? You
Mm.
know, someone I kind of know where I need to improve. Um, Sparks made a good video. I don't know if you know Sparks, but on your eyes and where you're looking on track is going to help get quicker. So I think that's for me. That's one of the next things I need to do. One of my favorite tips is listening to your tires. So I try and turn the tire volume up more than the rest of the game volume because if I can hear my tires, that's not a good sign. So that's just a subconscious thing for me. But if I'm somewhere in the middle and someone's not as quick as me, I can probably make that video to get them to my level. And then once they're at my level, then they can then go and watch that video to get quicker, if that makes sense.
No, definitely. And I agree with you. There are varying degrees of skill. And if the guy above you helps you a little bit and you help someone below you, then we all move up together, which is a beautiful thing. Um, these guys that we watch that, they spend 20 minutes, they get their goal time. It takes me a day. It takes me a day, and then sometimes it'll take me 2 days, where the first day I'll get frustrated. I leave the top time at bronze, and then the next time it's silver, and then the next time it's gold. But when you compare yourself to someone who's in the top 1% of the world, it gets very discouraging. And then you're told, oh, it's because of the gear, and it's because you need this, and oh, it's because you need that. We really need to get rid of that train of thought in our
Yeah,
world. Like I said, it doesn't matter what you use; it's how you use it. It's always the car. It's always the driver and not the car. It's all those old sayings that still reign true. Um, I get comments like that too, and it's very heartfelt to see. Thanks for the encouragement. I really appreciate it. And that's who you make the videos for. You don't make them to compete with the bigger guys. There's no point.
no, I
But
mean, I
yeah.
think I think Super GT might get a bit annoyed at me because I've actually tweeted him with a comment that was made on one of my videos, um, and the comment simply read along the. I'm going to summarize this, but saying,
Hmm.
"I thought you were Super GT because your voice sounded very similar." So it was only until they've watched the video. Um, I think it must have been a couple of minutes in potentially, and be like, "Hold on, this is not Super GT." So I kind of, I'm not trying to imitate him, as I have told, put a tweet out there so he knows. Um, but yeah, I try and have my own sense of humor, and that's all I try and do. And that's one thing I've found with doing this podcast is I'm finding more people around the world that play the same game. Like finding your channel was interesting because I look at my analytics. I'm like 99.9% of people that watch my channel are men, um, and they're men between the ages of 25 and 45.
Hmm.
So when I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, okay, so it's just men that play this, and then you're like, but hold on, so because I think I came across your videos on the Facebook groups, which um, have a lot of weird people on because a lot of people that think they're super smart. People go in there to ask for help. That's why you join these things, isn't it? And then you get the smart ass that comes on and says, "You could have just Googled it." I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask Google a question about GT7 because Google doesn't play GT7. I want to ask the question to someone who does play it. So coming across your channel, I'm like, hold on, women do play this game as well. And I think that's quite important to like put it out there and like this isn't a game just for men in their midlife crisis. It's a game for everyone. You know, it's
That's all right. That's all right. I've been collecting Gran Turismo since the beginning, and I actually just released because I reached 1,000 subs. I thought, you know what, I'm going to bring out my Gran Turismo collection out on display so you can see it all there. It's all on my channel. Um, I've also been playing Metal Gear Solid all my life as well, which is not a female-orientated game, but yeah,
no,
as you
it's
can
not.
see, actually the other side, as you can see, they're all games: PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You've got
My
a
Wii,
lot more games.
yeah, I got a lot of
You've even
games.
got an Atari,
Oh
even an
yeah,
Atari.
I got a Super Nintendo and a Nintendo. Those little HDMI things that came out because I sold my PlayStation. No, I sold my Nintendo for my PlayStation 1, which I still have. So I got all my consoles. I got everything. I collect everything. So I got
Yeah,
two PlayStation 2s, two PlayStation 1s, two PlayStation 3s, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5. They all still work. Still got the memory cards and everything. I play these things whenever I get the urge. I just pick something from the shelf. But I've got a very big Metal Gear Solid collection as well. Maybe I should do a video on that. But um,
So you probably should. Um,
yeah, I love that
that's one thing
game.
I found. That's one thing I found. So the Gran Turismo niche isn't that big. It's quite a small niche.
Hmm.
But if you open up your channel to other games as well, which I've started doing, so I'm trying to restrict my channel to maybe Gran Turismo, ACC, and F1 because anything more than that, my head can't process. That's why I don't do more than that. And even my game collection, like I'd look at your one back there, and I look at mine in comparison, and I've got one, two, three, four, five, six discs. That's all I have. F122, GT7, um, what Spyro, FIFA 19, and Crash Bandicoot. That's it. Um, and I had to download Alex the Kid in Miracle World because it's the first ever game I played on the Sega Master System.
Oh wow, okay.
Um, so I downloaded that on the PS5, but I don't have a lot of a big game collection. So that's all I play. But Metal Gear Solid, you're probably going to have a
Everything.
big audience for that, and a pretty
Yeah,
hardcore audience, to be fair.
yeah, most likely. But you know what? There are streaming channels that repeat the game, repeat the game, repeat the game. You know, just constantly. You know that I I do what I like. I like my racing. That's where I'm sitting at the moment. I've only bought one game for my PlayStation 5, and that's Gran Turismo 7. That's it. You know, like um, I've played all those games to death. Literally, I won the Assassin's Creed suit in Metal Gear Solid 4. I won the tuxedos back in the day and the stealth. I've done all that to death. Um, but my hobby lies in racing now, and you were talking about analytics. I got like 20% of my channel, they're females watching my content. So I I prefer to be a spokesperson for encouragement, and you can do it. Just buckle down a little bit, then to try to compete with, like you said, Super GT and all those guys. I'm big fans. That's hence the Super in my name, named after him because he encouraged me to get a
Okay,
PlayStation 4. But the VT,
so
now
Steve,
yeah, I own one of those, so no one can take that one away from me. But yeah, the Super
so
is named
Steve,
after him. Yeah.
so Steve, this is a big fan here, because I know Super GT does watch this. So um, you know, reach out on Twitter or something, and say hello to Monica over here. Um, yeah, that's quite a big thing for someone like to have
That's
to pick your name based on someone else is actually quite. Um, I think we lost you there. Oh, there you're back. It's quite a thing, isn't it? Like to have,
yeah.
like I got compared to when I done the Creator Series. I'm watching the broadcast with commentary. Someone mentioned my livery was Valentino Rossi inspired, um, which I'm not the biggest Rossi fan. I just love his colours.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so it is good that there is more women out there playing the game, and watching the content. Because maybe us guys need to try and figure out why your analytics for 1,000 subscribers, 20% is female, um, and what are we doing different, um, to keep female viewers away? Um, because I think that's actually quite an important thing. Because does it mean that our channels are too male orientated and we're quite self-centered in that we just
Hmm.
think it's men that should be watching? Um, so it's quite
Mm,
interesting that you say that your audience is 20% female.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't. It's just that it's just that's the way it is. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? When you walk, like if I go to buy a car and I see a male and a female salesperson there, most likely I'm going to walk over to the female. Why? Because I am one. I feel
yeah,
comfortable with my own kind. Well, that doesn't make sense. I don't want to sound sexist or anything like that. It's just on a subconscious level. That's what happens. You always walk towards your own kind, someone who's going to
yeah.
understand your point of view. So I wouldn't say that at all. I've been watching some videos for years before I even bought a wheel, and I never that thought never came to me. It was like, okay, this is the game. That's it. This is how it's played.
Yeah,
You know. Um, Nowadays, that male versus female, that doesn't exist anymore. Everyone's equal. And as a creator, you put out what you want to put out. It's your content. You don't have to
completely
tailor
agree.
it for someone else because there are people out there that think like you. So, there's I don't see the need to get numbers, and it came because it came naturally.
Yeah,
And same with the content, it comes from within you because you wanted to share it. Whether the viewer's male or female is irrelevant in my opinion. It just
yeah,
happens to be that way. Um, but there are many of us out there in disguise under weird names out there, but we're there.
that is true.
And I know a lot of I know a lot of people, girls. I know that play Halo and COD, and that's what they like. That's fine.
There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it, is it?
No,
You know,
no.
it's one thing that shocked me the most is, you know, I think it was a big eye opener for me because growing up in the UK, football or what you guys call soccer is like the biggest sport. Like living in the UK, I used to associate it. Men play football. In every country you go to, the biggest part of this game is men playing the game. And then you go to America and you're like, hold on, women play this game. Like this, like more people watch women playing this game than the men. I'm like thinking,
Hmm.
right, so, okay, so I think I've always got quite intrigued with that side of things in trying to understand why is this more popular for a certain um, group of people in this country, different in that country, and I try and understand why is it not the case? Why in the UK? Why is football not as big for women as it is for men? You know, I know part of it is to do with if you haven't got the orders, you haven't got the money, and you can't do this, that, and the other. But recently I started preferring women's football to men's football, um, even in the UK, because I just find it more chilled out. Um, so it is good. It is good. I like that there is more female sim racers out there, and like you said, everyone's in disguise, and there's a limited number of us that actually put our face out there and show who we really are. Um, because a lot of
That's
people
right.
probably don't have the confidence to get on camera or to get their voice on a microphone. So yeah, I mean, if and it's probably easy to have make up whatever you want on on a Google account, can't you?
That's right.
Um, so yeah, I'm always intrigued. It's not like comparing us to what we're doing wrong. Or, it's just an intrigue I have and how we can make it accessible for everyone, and get
I,
everyone involved.
I believe it is accessible to everyone nowadays. And there are some people that do put their vulnerabilities out there straight up front. Like one of my biggest fears, I'll be honest with you, is a couple of years ago, or many years ago now, I should say, I fell ill with endometriosis, which is a very painful experience. And ever since my last surgery, I've actually uh, ended up with a nerve condition. So basically, I'm all the time in pain, even though I don't seem it, but I am.
Yeah,
So my biggest fear was, man, if I join a league, I'm not gonna be able to do these races because my pain is gonna conflict with my racing, and I can't have that. And you have these demons. Everyone's got their own demons to deal with.
agree.
Um, but the nice thing about it is when I sit in my rig and I join up at the party chat, all of that for that moment in time disappears. There have been races where every time I've pressed the brake pedal, I can just feel this shooting pain, and there has been a race or two where I've gone, nah, I'm going to brake later than I normally do because I can do
Yeah,
this and I'm going to beat my pain, nah, and off track I went. But that's okay. And it's okay to be beaten every once in a while. But
yeah.
we all have these strengths and weaknesses. And for me, it's that I've got this nerve condition. So, but it's accessible to everyone. You don't have to have the greatest stuff. Mate, I've got my TV sitting on a child's desk in front of my rig. It's all in bits and pieces that I've built up over the
Yeah,
years. No one's gone to the shop and said, "Here's 10 grand, give me the latest stuff." Like whether you're on controller or on a wheel or you're in Australia, you're in the UK, we can all connect and get together. We're all people at the end of the day, and it doesn't matter. It's a game, and we're all here to have fun, and
that's what's good
that's,
about this community as well.
yeah,
You know,
definitely.
I, I I've met people from all over the world in this now. Like, you know, for every podcast I've done, I've had someone from Canada. I've got someone from Australia. I've had people from the UK. The episode I'm doing this Friday coming, but it was last Friday. If you watch, whenever you're watching this, it's going to be with someone in New York, um,
Oh,
or New
okay.
York State. So it's just just knowing like there's more people out there that like the same thing you do, and like you said, with everyone has different um, issues that they're dealing with. You know, the headphones. The minute those go on, it's like I can only compare it to when a racing driver gets into a car and closes that visor. The
Yeah.
minute those headphones go on, you're sucked into a different reality. Um, to the point where I mean, I put a shorts up a couple of days ago where I'm driving and I've had the fright of my life because someone's hit the brakes or lagged and I've gone straight through them. And in my head, I'm thinking I'm about to crash into someone at 200 mile an hour. Um, and it obviously it doesn't happen because you're just sitting there on a chair, but you're so ingrained into it.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone does have the demons. I've got mine. One of the reasons I've started doing this to try and gain confidence. Um, you know, because if people look back to the start of my channel, I just started streaming. There was no voice, like nothing at all. And it's just me trying to just driving. And then I got to a point where I'm like, who's gonna want to watch someone that's just a video playing? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's no context to it. So I'm like, right, I'm gonna type words into Google and I'm gonna get this AI thing to read out the text, and I'm gonna put it in the right place. So it's something, but it's so computerized.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to hate that, and I'm like, but I don't want to get myself on camera. I hate being on camera. I hate people because I used to be bullied in school, like probably a lot of us have. Um, and you lose that confidence. You like, what if someone comes and bullies me? And I'm still trying to deal with online trolls, but that's a whole other story. I've got to the point where I'm like, I now do a podcast. I'm literally sitting here talking to random people around. Let's be honest, we're all random people to each other until we get to know each other
That's right.
and having a conversation which I would never have in a million years, like before I started doing this. So, if anyone else that is out there and does need to pick me up, you know, don't be scared. Just just dive in, um, be it whatever it is. Just jump in and just what's the worst that could happen? You know,
Nothing, mate. Nothing bad can
you know,
happen. If you don't try, you never know.
the
I, I,
worst
I
thing that's going
totally
to
get it.
happen is the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to be driving and competing, and the game's going to crash on you. That's the worst thing that's going to happen.
Yep.
Um, and then you're probably going to punch your steering wheel, um, and then just press start again or retry.
I
That's
was
the
gonna say
worst.
that's a good excuse to upgrade. Punch your steering wheel, get a fan attack. Yeah.
Yeah, get a dog, make it chew it. Uh, that was my excuse. He doesn't do it anymore. I can see it like every now and again. He comes upstairs, goes around the Fanatec, sniffs it, and he's like, "No, I've learnt my lesson. No, I don't
Mm.
want to destroy this one." But yeah, I don't blame the pup.
No,
But yeah. So, is there anything you else you want people to know about um, Super VT? Mm.
I don't know. Yeah, just
What's to
come.
come in your channel?
Well, in 2 weeks' time, I got round 10 for the GT3 Championship, the final round at on home soil at Bathurst. I'm not looking forward to it because I never succeed there, but that's okay. And that's what my channel is all about. It's okay to be mediocre. It's okay. It really is. It's fine. And yeah, just whatever series I'm in, I'll be uploading that and other little bits and bobs along the way. So it's mainly just me, either in front or not in front of the camera, depending on how I feel. So no, I'm pretty cool. I try to be anyway. I'll put it that way.
So is that what it is? So if there's a camera, you feel like it. If there's no camera, then it's because you don't feel like it.
Yeah, it's my
Yeah,
channel. I can do what I want. That's why I stick myself up in the
exactly.
corner. But
Do,
it's
do
it,
the,
it's all about the message of being it's okay. You know, if I help someone, that makes my day. If I don't, that's fine. If I provide a bit of comedy, that's okay too. Do you know what I mean? So it's just sharing a passion, something that we all have. How easy was it for
that's
us
true.
to talk about a game today? It was quite easy. So
Yeah, it's what I love about this podcast is just being able to speak to other people who sit in their house and play the same game as I do, and pretend like they're driving real cars. Because
yeah,
that's what we do. We pretend like we're driving real cars, and we try and all um, think that we're the next Lewis Hamilton. Um, you know, and you know what? Lewis Hamilton is out there. We're probably driving against Lewis Hamilton without knowing,
could be a
because
possibility.
I mean he said it around Christmas. He did say that he was on Gran Turismo and he was driving against a guy whose username was LH44. Um, and I think kept crashing into him or something like that. And clearly, this guy's a fan of Lewis Hamilton, was racing Lewis Hamilton, but had no idea that he was racing him. So you know, but yeah, I think we'll leave it there shortly because we hit the hour mark. I think people's attention span starts to go after the hour, but the channel is more than welcome for you to come back again at some point if you want to promote anything. Um, if you want to get a message across, just let us know and we'll have you back on.
Definitely, I enjoyed it very much. Even though it was an early start for me, I did wake up at like six
Yeah,
o'clock in the morning.
yeah. Let's just put this out there. We've had to arrange a time that's suitable for everyone because originally we were going to do this at 8 p.m. UK time. Um,
That would have been five
and
o'clock in the
for
morning
anyone
for
who
me.
doesn't know, 5 o'clock in Australia.
Yeah,
So it wasn't fair to do that. So I think doing that at 10 p.m. UK time, 7 a.m. Australia, um, is a good compromise. But yeah, it's a first, a show that's being recorded on a Tuesday and a Wednesday
at
at
the same.
exactly the same time. Um, but yeah, but anyway, guys, we're gonna leave it here. Um, we can still have a chat after this if you want. Um, yeah, check out both channels. I've left the um, descriptions at the bottom all the way through. Um, don't forget to smash the like and subscribe buttons on this channel. Get over to Super VT as well. Um, and also don't forget, shout out to the sponsors of the show, Manscaped. So 20% off and free shipping with the code Chunky GT for anyone who is interested. But yeah, thank you for joining, and we'll catch you on the next one. See you later. Thanks.